This was not thought through.
No.
Someone's like, you know what we should do? It's like they're all high. They're like, what if we had 2 bachelorettes?
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to another Dear Shandy Bachelorette's recap, everyone. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
A little stressed out.
So we're in Germany, clearly. We told you we would be recording this recap from Germany, but what we didn't plan for is right before getting going,
A voltage issue.
a voltage issue.
For some reason, we can communicate from 2 different points on the globe instantly with full HD video.
Yeah.
You could be in the jungle. You could be in the middle of the Amazon jungle and communicate with your mother in Chicago and see the pores on her face. But for some reason, if you plug an American item into a European outlet, half the time it dies instantly.
Yeah. In my experience, that has happened with steamers and hot rollers and blow dryers and things, but I don't know why I didn't think that could happen with a mixer. So we now have a dead mixer, and right before recording, we realized it and had to make a trip to an audio store.
Yeah, we went to the audio store and then we went to the Musiconnen store and at the Musiconnen store we found the mixer.
Yes. And here we are. A little sweaty, a little worse for wear, but that's okay.
This is the dedication, next level dedication, because nothing is going to stop us from bringing you this Bachelor recap.
It's a little embarrassing.
It's a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
But also, we love our Shandies.
We do.
We are willing to travel all the world.
Over.
All the world over, yes. That's the right way of saying it. To deliver you the best audio quality possible. The audio quality the Shandies deserve.
Yeah, actually, there was some discussion where Andy was like, let's just record it with the camera audio. And I was like, no, we can't.
I never said that. I deny that.
Okay, here we are. On to more important things. The Bachelorette's episode 3. Overall thoughts, Andy?
Not great.
Not great.
Not
I
great.
agree. This was a rough episode. I wanted to like this episode. I felt like the first episode, was kind of chaotic. Episode 2, it's like, yeah, okay, I understand they have a lot to cover. Episode 3, we're now a good quarter into the season. And I'd like to feel like they'd found their footing a little bit better than this. And it felt really like they're making this up as they go along.
It did. It felt
way.
like the first season of Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes, but at least that, I don't know. I thought that was
more
even
fun.
better.
That was more fun.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. If I had never seen this show before and was like, you know what? Season 19 of Bachelorette, that's the season I'm going to start. I'm going to get into the franchise with this season. I would not be watching after episode 3.
I think, and I've said this from before the beginning, the 2 Bachelorette thing was a bad call. And I think that production, the executive production, is starting to realize that. And not unlike, then this is foreshadowing for this episode, Meatball's decision at the end of episode 3 of the Bachelorettes. I think that they're trying to recover from this.
How? By having the ladies pick their separate...
By just sort of changing the script as they go along.
Yeah.
I think they're just like, you know what? This wasn't a great idea. And let's try to massage this into something that works.
You're making a good point in that at this point, it's really just 2 bachelorettes who each have fewer, like half the men that they originally had, or they would have had at this point.
You're basically, what you're getting is instead of one sort of shitty Bachelorette season, you're getting 2 slightly shittier Bachelorette seasons.
Which amount to one sort of shitty Bachelorette season?
It depends. The math gets a little funky with Bachelorette. So shittier might be better. So technically speaking, maybe it's better, but it's still shittier.
Okay. All right. Well, shall we get recapping?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we pick up with Erich and Logan hanging out at the mansion and talking about how the guys are starting to pick a lane. That's definitely the theme of episode 3. And we learn here that Erich is all in on Gabby, a little foreshadowing.
Of course he is.
Meatball, meanwhile, is split. And Andy, you said Meatball playing the field.
Typical Meatball.
Isn't that funny how some contestants are like the leading role men? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And like Meatball's just not that character.
Yeah. There are stars and there are extras.
Yes.
Meatball is a featured extra.
Yeah, and he has to know that. I mean, he's using his time with them to have like Lady and the Tramp meatball and spaghetti scenes. So.
He's a character actor.
He is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Character actors, just as character tenors, make all the money.
Great careers. Great careers.
Yep. Okay, so at the Bachelorette house, meanwhile, not to be mistaken with mansion, the ladies have a girl chat, and they agree that it would give them a lot more clarity if they knew where the guys were at. And now they want the guys to have some more assertion. They agree that at this point, the guys have had enough time to get to know them. Okay, so Jesse now arrives at the mansion and says that this week there will be 2 one-on-ones, one for each Gabby and Rachel, and another group date. And the guys are all like, wow. And I wrote, wait, so it's the same as last week? And Andy, you said, I love how they have big reactions to even the most mundane things.
Well, it's like you're forced to listen to like a 5-year-old recap for you a SpongeBob SquarePants episode.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Mr. Krabs and Squidward were wearing funny hats? Wow. That's amazing.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay, and Rachel's date card arrives, and it goes to Zach. We were proud of ourselves because we've had Zach in our top 4 for a while now. And as Zach is looking all proud and excited, the other guys are like, she's 1 for 1 for kicking people out. I thought this was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zach and Rachel now go on their one-on-one. They meet at the SLS hotel. They kiss immediately, and they seem more familiar with each other than we've been shown, in my opinion. Right off the bat, you're like, oh, have they kissed already? And I guess they have. I don't know.
Well, that's what editing does. You just never know what ends up on the floor.
Yeah, I agree.
Apparently there was some connection there that we didn't see.
They meet Karamo from Queer Eye, and Karamo asks if Zach can pop champagne, and Zach's delivery here was pretty funny.
Great. Perfect
He's like,
timing.
oh, yeah. And then he's like, let's see. I thought this was really well timed.
Yeah, good stuff.
He was very charming throughout this date. Karamo now says that their date is a movie theater premiere with the red carpet and everything. And before we ended up seeing what the date was about, I was like, this is such an LA date that they should do more often. If this were a real movie premiere, I think that is such an LA thing to do. But I guess there's probably a lot of like rights issues.
That would be the problem.
Yeah.
I think there's all sorts of, it's just fraught
legal,
with minefields.
Yeah. But to me, that's like a real, if they went to a real red carpet, not one of these.
Yeah.
That would have been like a really cool LA date.
Yeah, and you had like a handheld guy in the back, so it looked really like you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should do that.
I vote for it as well.
So meanwhile, Gabby swings by the mansion and she asks what they all do all day, and they proceed to demonstrate by tossing a football back and forth. And they chat while sipping champagne, and it is awkward as hell.
Yeah.
This was painful.
Why wasn't any? I mean, there's so many times in this franchise where guys go out of their way to create awkwardness to take the Bachelorette aside. Like here, they're just being handed the Bachelorette, and they're like, "Oh, let's toss a football around."
I realized that the music made this look more awkward than it was. Like it was painful. There was no soundtrack at all. It was like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was other things that happened, but they decided to just focus on this to make a point that they were ignoring her.
Yeah, or at least just not,
somewhat.
They were prioritizing their friendships with each other over their relationships with her, which, by the way, we have seen this is a carbon copy of Michelle's season.
I remember the basketball.
And
no, not the basketball.
It was some.
It was like
some play date.
It was a play date. Yeah, there was a lot of things. There were basketballs.
Yeah,
but
there were balls,
as well.
different types of balls. But it's funny how they copied this exact thing. But we found out later, I forget how, but there was some BTS out there saying, I think someone said on Instagram or whatever, that Michelle did talk to a few guys. Like some guys did pull her to talk to her. And I can't help but wonder if the same thing happened here.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they said to the guys like, oh, by the way, we want you to have a football catch now.
Yeah.
Just have a football catch.
Yeah.
They're like, why should we have a football catch? They're like, don't ask questions. Football catch.
Just go, do. Yeah. And look, Gabby's commentary after suggested that she did feel neglected in some way, but I still now, the boy has cried wolf. I'm a little doubtful that this went down exactly as was portrayed.
I could also see Gabby with her general way of feeling neglected, even if she wasn't fully neglected. Nothing against Gabby. I just feel like she's a little bit, she's coming into this with some insecurity about the process.
Yeah. As she herself admits, truthfully. But overall, they just seemed like a bunch of bros.
Yeah. I mean, they are young. As we've noted many times, this is a very young crowd.
Yeah.
And I think that is not fair to the Bachelorettes because the youngest man on this show should be 36 years old.
So Gabby on her way out says, the lack of effort is a decision at this point. I thought this was really well put.
Yeah, she sometimes lays it down heavy.
She really does. Okay, so back on the date, Karamo asks if Zach is split between the women still. And Zach says that there was chemistry with Rachel from the get-go. And as far as he's concerned, there's only one Bachelorette.
Wow.
Ding, 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 ding.
What an angel.
Right answer. Rachel is smitten, obviously. And now they try on different silly outfits before emerging in their red carpet looks. And now, meanwhile, Gabby does some B-roll where she talks about being in her head after the lack of initiative from the men. I felt bad for her. The downward spiral of Gabby here was really not fun to watch.
No.
Because we really, who doesn't love Gabby? You don't want to see her struggling, especially with self-esteem or feeling unpolished.
As the producers do, and as I believe they're trained to do, they find the weakness in you and they expose it.
Totally. And I have more on that down the road. But yes, I completely agree. They were trying to do this with at least one of them, if not both of them, for quite some time,
Which proves the point that this show is not about showing someone finding love. It's about showing drama. And then if someone finds love, great.
Yeah.
That's the cherry on top. And why are they doing that? Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
They're doing it because the fans want to see drama. And I'm not talking to you guys, you outliers who love love. I know we like love too. But let's face it, most people, they want to see a car accident.
Oh.
They do.
As you said, they want to see the breaking up of the friendship, even if they don't know that's what they want to see.
Bachelorette franchises like NASCAR. You go because you like cars, you like speed, you like the sound, the roar of the engines, but let's be honest. Everyone, is a dirty secret, they want to see a crash.
Where someone does not die.
Someone does not die.
Yeah.
But some people want to see that too. They're sick people.
Okay, so at the mansion now, Gabby's one-on-one date card arrives and it has Erich's name on it. He's ecstatic, he says. And Gabby says, I think it takes the right person to know how to love me.
She should be more confident.
She should.
But she's not. So,
We'll circle back to that. And Andy, this is where in the episode you said, this season's a lot less funny than usual. Yeah. Not that it's ever funny, but there's less to find funny.
Yeah.
We were struggling.
Really, I feel like I'm trying to pin the tail on the donkey in a pitch black room.
And you're blindfolded.
Wait
You're always blindfolded when you play pin the tail on the donkey.
No sense. It's redundant.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm trying to pin the tail on the donkey of an extremely small donkey. Yeah. That's what it is.
Okay, I was thinking maybe more that it was an extremely large donkey with a very, very small
that's so
area
cool.
to pin
Why
it.
would anyone do that? You have to be a psychopath.
Yeah, but that's more or less this.
It's just like too small a donkey. The whole donkey is too small.
Yeah, but the whole show was just as long as any other show. It's the same size donkey. It's just the area where you can pin is that much smaller.
Oh, that's so mean. And you're blindfolded.
And you're blindfolded and it's pitch dark.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Okay.
Moving on.
And the adhesive on the tail is really weak.
Okay, it's not that unfunny. There's still something to work with here. Pushing it.
Okay, so back on the date at the premiere for Me and You. Andy, you said, what the hell is that? Some cross promotion with Me and You? Some movie that no one wants to see?
I mean, it was a fair assumption.
It was.
I was proven wrong.
Yes.
But, you know.
I mean, I laughed hard when you said that because I was thinking, I don't want to see that movie either. And we also agreed that the red carpet did not look legit.
No,
it
that
took
was
us
the
a little too
fakest
long.
red carpet. Everyone's like, how much more do I have to fake these pictures? Like, I'm not even a photographer. I was just walking down the street and some bachelor person told me to do this. I don't know how to take pictures.
It took us a little too long, I think, to realize that it wasn't supposed to be a real movie premiere.
Yeah.
We were like, wow, this is terrible.
We were fooled.
We were. We can admit it.
The Bachelor fooled us. It's rare, but it happens.
They have a private movie theater now, and there's a card from Karamo saying, enjoy the movie.
Karamo's really earned. He's getting a lot of return on his. He's making way more money per minute of what he has to do than he deserves.
Absolutely.
It's a great gig for him.
Yes.
Better than Queer Eye.
I don't know about that.
No, I mean per minute.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Totally. I can see that.
He's like, I'd rather do this all year long than do Queer Eye. This is the easiest work I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, just ask the guy which Bachelorette he's more into.
He's not even there.
Have a card arrive that you didn't even write.
He's not there.
Okay, so the music starts, and it turns out it's live music. It's piano being played by Matt White. It's sentimental. And it turns out it's the accompaniment to a slideshow
hold on a
second.
Sorry. You skimmed over the fact that Matt White is chopped liver.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't get a call out.
It's true.
What did Matt, he didn't kiss the ring. He did not kiss the Fleiss ring.
Yeah, Andy was really quick to point out that we didn't hear Rachel in a voiceover say, and then we hear Matt White playing.
He didn't pay. There's like a platinum package of gold, a silver. He took the bronze. He's like, I'll just show up and play, and you put my name in the corner. That's it. Are you sure? Because the silver will give you a call out. It'll be later, and it won't be that prominent. But he's like, no, I want bronze.
Yeah. You're right. He got no call out. Bronze package for Matt
No
White.
one's ever going to care about Matt White.
Well, now they will because we just spent the last minute talking about him.
We gave Matt White what he deserved.
He has the platinum package with Dear Shandy.
All our fans are going to be Matt White fans now.
Okay, so the film, Me and You, is a bunch of photos and videos of Rachel's and Zach's respective childhoods. Yeah. This was cute.
I got to say, got to give credit where credit's due. This was my favorite date that they've orchestrated in a long time.
Wow. Big coming from you.
The last date I liked more only because there was so much comedy to be had was Greg Grippo and the Jersey date. Which was terrible, but it was so hilarious. For me. And anyone who's not from Jersey.
Yeah, we lost some New Jerseyans after that episode.
We have no fans in New Jersey.
You really alienated
But
them.
I love New Jersey. I'll repeat, I love New Jersey. And that's a tradition in New Jersey, is dissing the things that you love. Like, hey, you piece of shit. I love you so much. That's Jersey.
You took the piss out of Jersey, as the Brits would say.
Yes.
Okay, so we found this super cute. Zach cries as the message from his mother comes up. Rachel is deeply moved by this, and the movie finishes, and they are all teary-eyed. They kiss some more.
It was a sad movie. I mean, bittersweet.
Was sad? What was sad about it?
Sorry, I was just making shit up.
Just not thinking about what was coming out of your mouth?
I was really just, I went into a dwam.
You went into a dwam. Yeah, because of the teary-eyed. Oh my God, that's what happened. You went somewhere else for a split second. You heard teary-eyed and you were like, sad movie.
Yeah, I just went into autopilot.
What percentage of these recaps is you on autopilot?
It's like way less than 50, like 45%.
I wish I could go on autopilot for 45% of these. So Rachel asks about his family, and Zach reveals his dad used to take him to the airport to watch planes. He's obsessed with planes.
I have a friend like that.
Oh, you do have a friend like that?
Yeah. My friend Graham.
Yeah, cute.
Loves planes.
And Rachel is like, no way. My dad used to do the same with us. This was kind of cute.
I mean, that was also like, that's a really good common glue.
Yeah, because they're both like, I've never met anyone else who did this.
It's very specific.
It is.
Yeah.
They make out some more. Zach says in his ITM that he thinks Rachel could be his future wife. Ding, 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 ding. He's really checking all the boxes.
It's like it's a carnival game where it's like, that carnival where you shoot the water gun and the thing keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's like he went up another level with that.
I don't know if that's the water shooting one. I was thinking more it's the one where you
hit the hammer.
You hit the hammer, and first you have to hit the first thing in the right zone, and then you go further and further.
Huh?
He's acing each
No, the
zone.
whole point of the hammer game is to get it as high as you can on the first shot.
Well...
Oh, you're talking about the new hammer game.
The new one.
That are considerate of people who aren't that strong.
Yes.
That's amazing. I remember we played the hammer game.
Yes.
And I was hitting it so hard. And there's a sign that says, don't hit too hard.
Yeah.
Like, what world do we live in?
I think it was made for children.
It should be about strength. There's no healthy competition left in this world.
I don't know. There's skill to that. There is skill to that, is getting in the right area.
All right. Maybe you're right. It's an old man.
Old man playing a children's
game. To me,
game.
the hammer game, it's all about strength.
Anyway.
You don't impress the girl by getting an accurate hammer hit. You impress her by getting the thing to hit the top of the bell, like in the cartoon.
And getting a stuffed animal.
Yes.
For her.
Correct.
So regardless, Zach wins all the prizes. He's hitting all the ding, ding, dings that are be
Zach is hitting
dinged.
it. He's saying all the right things.
He is. I wrote the scene closes with them dancing on stage, but it actually takes quite some time for the scene to close because they just are dancing, making out. There's ITMs of Rachel talking tearfully.
Production's milking this because they know it was a good date. They're like, we finally did a good date. Let's get a lot of screen time.
As you said, Andy, at the time, it feels like they're patting themselves on their own backs for this date. It did kind of feel like that.
It did.
It went on a solid 2 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't cute.
It was all a lot of cuteness.
What you really wanted to happen, Andy, as you said at the time, was for her to not give him the rose so that she would be this black widow bachelorette.
I mean,
sorry. Maybe one day.
You can still hope.
Obviously, he gets the rose, and Zach is now the front runner we knew he would be.
Mm-hmm. So, Sharleen.
Andy?
Have you been feeling the pinch of inflation?
I have actually. At the grocery store was not really where I expected to see it, but it's where I've seen it the most. But we also don't have a car, so we don't see it with gas, but we know, obviously.
Well,
we
gas,
watch the news.
It trickles through.
It does.
Yeah.
And actually at restaurants too.
Oh, restaurants, I've seen it the most. For me.
Yeah.
Restaurants, it's like every restaurant's a 5-star restaurant now.
So wouldn't it be nice whenever you spend $1 anywhere to get cash back on every purchase? You're basically getting paid to spend money.
And you don't have to do anything. It just happens.
Yes. And that's why we love Upside. It's a fantastic app where you check in to the business you're at, whether it be the grocery store, a restaurant, or a gas station, and you pay as usual with your own debit or credit card, and you get cash back in the app.
Nothing but upside, which is why,
Nice.
And incidentally, as compared to other credit card rewards and loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times as much cash back with Upside.
Wow. That's a big difference.
Huge. I mean, 2 times I would take in a second.
Yeah.
3 times ridiculous.
It's 300%.
It's actually 200%. I've always had trouble with that as well.
Plus, you can cash out at any time to your bank or through PayPal or through e-gift cards to Amazon and other brands. And worth noting, Upside users earn $1 million in rewards every week.
Every week?
Every week.
So $52 million a year.
That's a lot of cash back.
Wow.
So download the free Upside app and use promo code Shandy to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more.
That's $5 or more on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code Shandy.
So it's now Erich's one-on-one with Gabby. She arrives at the mansion and her grandpa John arrives just after her. And he rides in the back of a Jeep and seems to be the third wheel on this date. When you realized this, Andy, you sighed. I like Grandpa John.
Look, I like Grandpa John too. Mm-hmm. They're milking. It's one of these. They're just squeezing it dry.
They arrive at a sound ceremony, and we hear Gabby say in her voiceover that she finds sound baths grounding. And Andy, you laughed at this and you said, "I love a good sound bath."
I mean, it's of all the baths, it's in my top 10. It's like 7 behind bird bath.
So we're making fun, but I actually have a girlfriend who's really into these.
Sound baths?
Yeah, they're really expensive. They're often made of crystal. Okay, we'll move on. Apparently they can be very healing and grounding.
Are they cleansing?
Also cleansing.
So you leave clean? You can go like to dinner at a nice restaurant after you get a sound bath?
Yeah, you don't need to shower if you have a sound bath.
Wow. That's amazing. Never knew that.
So we thought there was a word watch here because the host, the sound bath arbiter.
The sound bather.
She says, we'll begin with an intention setting ceremony.
Intention.
Yeah, she said intention setting ceremony, and we were like, intentions setting?
We rewinded literally 10 times to make sure that our word watch game had integrity.
Yes.
And it was definitely intention without an S.
But fear not, there were more intentions to be heard here, because right away, Erich says, my intentions is presence. Being in the moment.
He used it in the wrong grammar. It still counts, though. Still counts.
It does. Grandpa John is napping now.
Yeah, he's all tuckered out. I mean, it's too much sound bathing for him. This is the longest sound bath he's ever had.
It was so grounding, it sent him to the ground.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can not to rip into this sound bath. I know what he's feeling. I mean, he's a lot older than me, and I'm already having trouble with the sound bath, like keeping my cool.
As he said in his ITM, at my age, any new experience is a good experience. Not necessarily anything that I have to duplicate again.
That was funny.
It was funny.
Good, Grandpa John delivering.
And now they go bowling, and there's conveniently a woman around Grandpa John's age named Julie, and her purpose is to partner up with Grandpa John in this bowling match, and also to occupy him as Erich and Gabby go off and have a little one-on-one time finally. They make out. Great kissing between the two of them.
It's good kissing.
You know what Erich understands is this, the face, the tender face caress during a kiss.
Yep. It's very important.
As we've discussed, I'll link out the Q&A where you discuss this. You called it
cradling a baby sparrow.
An injured sparrow.
Injured, that's correct.
Yeah, Erich understands the injured sparrow technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. He holds her face with care. And it instantly makes a kiss go up like 3 notches.
I agree.
And now at dinner, Erich reveals his dad is a larger-than-life personality and his mother is insanely hardworking, and the two of them together make a fantastic team. So, Andy, you're making a twisting of the knife gesture.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate?
Well, it's unintentional. He's saying the right thing. I mean,
but that means that anyone who has parents that are present or still together or happy or whatever, good parents.
It's just that this is the place where Gabby has the most discomfort.
She's got insecurities around this.
And, this clearly puts her in a different place. Like as soon as she hears that, this is the second time, by the way.
It happened on Clayton's season as well.
Clayton, yeah. So you can tell, and I don't blame her at all. Mm-hmm. She's human. She gets uncomfortable. She gets a little sad when she hears about other people having wonderful, happy, loving parents. And it's understandable. Let's say I'm rich and I'm dating a girl who comes from the slums of Calcutta. And I start talking about like, oh, the thing I loved about childhood was having so much money and being able to do anything I wanted.
Yeah, like going to Aspen every winter to go skiing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My favorite pastime is skiing in Aspen.
Summering in St. Moritz.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna you're not gonna be like, oh, that's amazing. That's so great for you. No, you're gonna be like, okay. Yeah, it doesn't make me feel great.
Yeah. Well, Gabby here says that she has fears built in because not having consistent love from a parent is the hardest kind of love to not have received. I think this is 100% true.
Yeah.
She's so eloquent.
She is great.
And Gabby says the second she moved out of the house, her mom wiped her hands clean of her.
Oh, that's
rough.
That's rough.
And I wrote here, why do I fear that the powers that be are going to do everything in their power to bring her mother onto the season? I really hope that doesn't happen.
I hope so, but I think you might be right.
It wouldn't be the first time.
You know what I think may have happened is they may have tried hard, but she's like, I'm not having it.
Yeah, I feel like at the very least, this was discussed in a boardroom, whether or not they were able to execute.
Unquestionably.
Yeah. Okay, so Gabby says she'll likely never feel a mother's love, and that's something she will always miss.
God.
Rough. And
So
Erich
brutal.
is silent, or at least that's what they show. It was odd editing here. I couldn't tell. I was like, are you really silent to that? Like, maybe you don't know what to say, but he just sort of seemed to be blinking at her. And then Gabby excuses herself, and it seemed like things were kind of tense. And Andy, you were like, uh-oh. Like we seem to think for a moment here that this was...
She was going to pull a Rachel.
Yeah, like it was a reflection on him or their relationship.
Yeah.
And now Gabby goes and cries to her producers about how she doesn't know how to explain what it's like to have a mother who doesn't love you. I can see how this would get exhausting. Like she's having these conversations over and over and over again. At least on Clayton's season, she has to have it once.
But also no one can appreciate it. No one's ever like, oh my God, my mother also didn't love me. Like she's never getting reciprocation. So she's on her own all the time. It's way more likely to have a love of planes or in your family to have someone who loved planes than for in your family to have a mother who didn't love you at all.
Yeah. Gabby in her ITM says that she's afraid of Erich and what they might have. And we have to talk about how different this is than Nate.
Yeah.
Like she didn't say that about Nate.
Nope. She's more excited about Erich than Nate.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so she sits back down now and tells Erich that she's feeling very overwhelmed and she's not sure she's right for this. She's not your typical bachelorette. She's not polished,
No.
according to her. I beg to differ.
I think that she's exactly what a bachelorette should be. It should be real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
You don't want polished. I don't want a polished
No,
bachelorette. I hate to say Rachel is a polished bachelorette, or at least she's playing the role of a polished bachelorette.
We'll get there.
We will. Sorry,
yes,
I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah, you are jumping the gun. But I feel like I would way rather watch
imperfections. A real person with problems.
Who has her own traumas and insecurities. I want to watch a human. That's the whole point of reality TV. Otherwise,
absolutely.
At that point, let's watch actors.
Agreed.
Anyway, I wanted to hug her throughout this. I'm not just saying this. Like I don't like watching anyone who's too polished. In fact, in all my years of recaps, I often say he or she is too polished.
Agreed.
Anyway,
Gabby, you have said that. I agree that you've said that. That's what I meant.
So Gabby says that she has a severely emotional side. And here now it's Erich's time to shine.
Yeah.
And now we'll discuss after whether or not we do think he shone. Or shown, according to you.
Thank you.
Erich says that he only has so much time with her there. He really likes her. He won't hold anything back. And as much as she wants from him, he's willing to give, and he wants to see where it goes. Andy, you here said he's dead in the eyes.
He's phoning it in.
You felt he was phoning it in him. She interrupts him by sitting on his lap and kissing him. She is satisfied.
She is.
And now they go inside to get warm, and she gives him the rose. And as they make out, she once again gets on his lap because she wants to get closer to him. And in her ITM, she says, I would give anything to be loved by someone like Erich. Okay, let's discuss. Because you and I did not like this.
I didn't like it.
Andy, you said, why wouldn't you give anything to be with someone you love the most?
She's giving over the power immediately because of her insecurity. And this is not anything against Gabby. I don't blame her.
No.
She's been through the ringer in life.
Yes.
But it immediately makes her the weak player in this. And she is the bachelorette. She should take advantage of this opportunity to be the upper hand all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because Gabby definitely does have a ton of self-respect and confidence in some ways, but it's when she really seems to feel like vulnerable with someone, I guess, or like that could be it for her, I feel is a little bit too quick to let all the walls down and be like, this is it for me.
It's also guys, and I know guys, because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of my
brethren
can be a little taken aback, freaked out, so to speak, by that.
Well, I guess what bothers me is it was only earlier in the same episode that Erich even said that he was all in on Gabby. It was at the top of this episode. Not last episode, where he was like, I'm in for Gabby. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is editing and she's not actually
this is what I'm going to say. To me, it's clear. I'm not saying Erich is a player in life. I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
He may not be. But he's a player on this game.
Yes.
And I'm calling it a game because, let's be honest, this is a game. And I believe he's playing the Bachelorette. Not playing her, he's playing the game.
So you don't necessarily trust Erich's
I don't trust his intentions.
Maybe we'll be proven wrong. I do think he really likes her, but
I think he likes her. I think he finds her cute and amusing, but I don't sense this passion. I do not sense it.
It takes a while to develop that kind of trust, I think. And I think that she's putting a little too much trust in him too early. Frankly, it didn't feel like he gave that much to the conversation.
Yeah.
It felt like she just needed the smallest amount. It actually did remind me a lot of Claire, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and I love Claire. I don't have anything bad to say about Claire. It's just there were moments in her season where I was like, you should need more before you make it so clear that he's your absolute favorite.
I agree.
In my opinion. Just because there is something really to be gained by being on the show as a contestant.
Yeah, this is the ultimate chase.
Yes.
Like you can instigate chase as far as you want it to go. There's never not going to be a chase if you allow it to happen.
And the chase, I mean, if we're going to talk about a bigger dating thing here, the chase.
It's critical.
It's not that it's critical, but I think if you can use it to your advantage, you should.
Absolutely. Look, if you're able in real life to have a very organic meeting and a progression, you don't necessarily have to like play games and make the chase happen. But if you're on a show like this where it's like boom, 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 get to know the guy quickly, kiss, then get the card, then, engagement, then marriage, then Instagram.
First comes love.
No,
then
wait.
comes
Instagram,
marriage.
then engagement, then marriage, then much more Instagram, like an amazing amounts of Instagram. But if you're in that position,
Milk it.
Or like a fishing rod, just let the reel out.
Yeah.
Pull it in.
Yeah.
Let it out. Pull it in.
Yep.
She's basically diving into the water and with her teeth grabbing the fish.
So now it's the group date, and the ladies are posing for photos in wedding dresses as the men arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And then they whip off their skirts to reveal little mini white dresses. Yeah. This felt very tired, if I'm honest.
Extremely fatigued.
And you know what's even more tired than that? Was another bachelor photo shoot with themes, costumes, I would say, and no real purpose for any of it. Tino and Logan do proposal photos with Rachel. Tyler and Nate do proposal photos with Gabby. We get lots of tinkly piano music now. Mm-hmm. Lots of tinkly piano music throughout this episode.
Yeah, it's a tinkly piano music type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Hence why it was so unfunny.
Yes.
Of course, the theme is that the guys are showing initiative and Gabby's fears were unfounded. Yeah. We got this exact arc on Michelle's season. Mm-hmm. But we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves because the evening comes and it's at SoFi Stadium.
SoFi. Is that a financial company?
I don't know.
SoFi. We probably should have researched that.
We probably should have, but I'm sure it's a big corporation that can afford to name a stadium after themselves.
Correct.
And the ladies toast the guys, and first we have one-on-one time with Avon and Rachel. Mm-hmm. He says he could already see the romance, but now he can see the best friend part. She basically cuts him off with a kiss here, and they play some football and lay down in the end zone and make out. Mm-hmm. And Andy, here, this is where you said that you feel Rachel is playing the role of Bachelorette.
Yeah.
You said it feels too rote.
She's hitting every beat. There's no improv. It's just like, what would the Bachelorette do or say in this moment?
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that.
I'm going to go a little softer on her here because I do think so much is fed to her. Like, I do agree though. And we actually noted this way back into episode 1, but we didn't say it in our recap. Yeah. Was it sometimes feels like she's almost narrating?
Yes.
Like she's the one who will be like, well, this is our journey.
Totally
and
agree.
So we can call the shots. Yep. Like she's the one that will carry that torch and play the role that she's meant to play. More research needs to be done, I think, before I completely agree with you. But I will say out of the two of them, like because there are two separate bachelorettes and you can't help but sort of compare how differently they do things like this, you can't help but notice that Rachel does feel a little more
practiced
than Gabby.
And I will say that this is not a character judgment on Rachel.
No.
If anything, it might be the opposite. She's on a TV show.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I have no judgment on that. As a matter of fact, I think it might be
might behoove her to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's well said. I don't disagree with that. It's one-on-one time with Jordan H. and Rachel. Jordan H. says that he kind of missed her. And for some reason, she's really moved by this.
Yeah, wow.
And then he says there's, quote, something he's been wanting to do. And sometimes you got to create a moment, right? And then he goes in for a kiss. Andy, you hated this.
She gave him the look, the way like the look a mother gives her 2-year-old when he presents her with like some terrible macaroni art. I thought asking for a kiss was weak, but this makes asking for a kiss look like Clark Gable and Gone with the Wind.
Okay, well now Tino and Rachel talk. The one who, by the way, apparently we got this wrong on night 1. People were saying justice for Tino because we thought he said, would you like me to kiss you? But apparently it was, would you let me kiss you? The question was,
it's a little better.
It is better.
But it's still...
I actually think it could be almost hot. Would you let me kiss you?
Oh, it's almost like he's a sub. It's like, no, you've been a bad boy. Yeah. You cannot kiss me. Yeah. As a matter of fact, get on your knees and show me your balls. I'm going to step on them right now.
I do think would you let me kiss you is hotter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, way hotter than...
Would you let me kiss you? I'm getting heated. Just thinking, you're right.
Yeah,
you are right.
Justice for Tino indeed.
Yeah, we were, missed that one.
So Tino now says that he has a secret. And the secret is...
He's a sub.
That he's 100% certain he's only pursuing her. She loves this.
Yeah.
And they make out heavy
duty.
Like up close. We see like their jaws
saliva.
opening. Saliva
slow
strings.
mouth movement.
It was.
Yeah. Rachel is good at the performative kiss.
Is it performative?
No,
or
I'm
really
not saying
into
she's doing it on purpose. I'm saying it's a performative kiss whether she likes it or not.
It's just that.
Yeah. It's
made for TV.
It's yes.
Okay, and now Tyler and Gabby speak. He says straight up that he feels a connection
I got to get
Rachel.
Tyler off this show. What is he doing there? What is he? There's no purpose there.
Well, I thought he handled this really well. I mean, far better than some others. He was like, look,
Tyler is one of these extras. He's an extra that's never going to make it far.
I think he'll probably get some backstory shown, maybe a one-on-one date.
No,
but
Tyler's going. He's just on borrowed time.
Oh, okay. Anyway, she seems to appreciate how nice he is about it.
No, he's a good guy. Yeah. I'm just saying, I know Tyler's gone soon. Good guy.
In fact, in episode 1, I said to you, I was like, I feel like I'm getting old because I can no longer see some of these men as men because Tyler, for example, he was my example, looks 12 to me.
Yeah, you want to like wipe ketchup off his mouth. Come here.
Now Hayden and Gabby speak, and right off the bat, we get 2 word watches.
Yeah, Hayden loves the intentions.
He really loves to use the word intentions in less than favorable context. We'll put it that way. So first up, we have, today gave me more insight on my intentions. And then he says, I do have my intentions fully for Rachel. He says that Gabby has the bubbly and goofy aspects to her. And she is more rough around the edges.
Unbelievable.
And clearly doesn't seem to see this as an insult, which is almost, I'm almost impressed at how clueless he is.
It's amazing. That's something you say to someone you're going to be with. That's like, I like you because you're rough around the edges. Right?
Yeah, the fact that you would call, for a man to call a woman he's dating rough around the edges, or ostensibly dating or breaking up with or anything rough around the edges, it's like that's just not something you say.
It's like you say, I love you so much, love you, and your little cute crooked teeth. I love everything about you. I want to spend the rest of my life. You don't say I like your personality. You're so fun to hang with, but these crooked teeth, I can't do that.
Yeah, but if it's even worse than saying crooked teeth, it's worse than pointing out some physical, quote unquote imperfection, because it's something that's so much more nebulous and is so much more insulting.
It's everything. The whole thing is rough.
It's amazing to me that he thought he could say this in a way that was letting her down easy.
That's the thing you keep to yourself forever.
I'm trying to find a way to blame, the powers that be. Maybe there's no one to blame but him. You don't say this. You're an adult. You're living and breathing in this world. He is 29 years old from Tampa, Florida. How the hell could he think that this is okay to say?
He's from Tampa, Florida. I can't say that. Can't say that. I love our fans in Tampa. Shout out to Tampa. Good fans. Like you guys.
I kind of wish here, and I know Gabby says something later that sort of explains this. I really wish she hadn't made this so easy for him.
Yeah.
But I think she was also just sort of really caught off guard.
She should have said, what do you mean rough around the edges? Why is that a problem for you, you simple man?
I do wish Gabby embraced her position of power a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wish she had held him to this. Instead, she was like, don't worry about it. And he's like, oh, you're the best. And she's like, no, you're the best. She's just way too nice. She's very conflict averse.
But you know what she does? She does this thing, which I kind of like. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Her eyes sort of lose their tension. Her lids drop a little bit. And she's like, yeah. Which is basically fuck you. Fuck you.
I mean, if he were smart enough to read between the lines, he would have seen that she wasn't thrilled. Yeah. But he's not smart enough to know not to say that someone's rough around the edges. So I don't know why.
That was unbelievable. Yeah. Charlene.
Andy?
What do you think of my hair?
It's looking full, voluminous.
Thick?
Lustrous. You've got a great head of hair.
Thank you. And I have to say, I'm not saying I owe it all to Nutrafol, but I owe some of it to Nutrafol.
Yes.
I have noticed a difference. And I've been taking Nutrafol religiously now for years.
Yeah, you were getting a little self-conscious. So the backstory here actually is we have been using Nutrafol since before we started this podcast. Yeah. And so when they came across our desk as a potential sponsor, we were like, woo,
free money.
I love an organic sponsor, because I went to an influencer event where I got a bunch of free products. And in this gift baggie. I brought home, there was men's and women's Nutrafol, and I give you the men's. And you were hooked.
Yeah.
You then proceeded to order more. And I really do think it just sort of keeps, I don't know, I feel like my hair in my 30s is not what it was in my 20s. And it just helps. It just helps keep that bit of fullness.
And the proof's in the pudding.
Well, it is the #1 dermatologist recommended supplement for hair growth. That
says something, because there are a hell of a lot of supplements out there for hair growth.
Yes. It supports healthy hair growth by targeting the 5 leading causes of thinning. And those are stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, and metabolism.
Well, it covers all the bases.
So you can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering promo code Shandy to save $15 off your first month's subscription.
This is their best offer anywhere, and it's only available to U.S. customers for a limited time.
Plus free shipping off every order. Again, that's $15 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code Shandy. Okay,
Anyway,
so now we have one-on-one time with Jacob and Gabby, and he says that even if she were the only one there, he wouldn't have the heart to continue.
If you were the last woman on earth.
This is unbelievable. Where are these men raised? They're like raised by wolves. Who says this stuff?
It's unbelievable.
He wouldn't have the heart. It's like she's some charity case.
It's online dating. They have no game. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh my God, you are so right. All these men, not all of them, but these two in particular are acting like they're God's gift.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the heart to continue with you if you were the only bachelorette.
They're talking to like the cereals in a grocery store. They're like, I used to like Fruit Loops, but I've grown up. Now I'm going to go with Cheerios.
That's not entirely untrue. They're like swipe, 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 swipe. No, I'm good. And that's why it's extra painful that there are 2 bachelorettes, because these men are from a generation where they have never had to pursue.
They just choose. They just pick. They're like, this is nice. I need some of this. Do I need any more of this? Yeah, I'll take some of that.
You can absolutely see it reflected in how these men spoke to them here.
They don't see them as human beings with feelings. They see them as options.
Yes. They're like children. I wrote here, children who seem to confuse honesty with insults. Mm-hmm. They think, oh, I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I'm so real. I'm keeping it real. No, you're keeping it stupid.
You're stupid.
Yeah, dumbass.
And the cherry on top is at the end. Jacob's like, but obviously, like, you're like smoking.
Yeah, your personality is terrible, but you're super hot. Like,
that's
great.
I mean, that's
Good
what
job,
it comes
dude.
down to. It's like, but don't worry. I think you're hot.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, you still got that going
You'll
for
be fine.
you.
Unbelievable. Terrible work.
Awful.
I mean,
remember,
not that I expected that much more from a guy who's constantly without a shirt on, who doesn't look like he should be without a shirt on.
This is also the same guy who, on his list of traits of what he's looking for in his future wife, wants someone who will look after herself physically.
Well, then that's the highest compliment he can give her, that she's hot.
So Gabby starts to crumble here. She says it feels like it's validating her fears that she's too much for people. She says she's sure Rachel's feeling something similar. And now we cut to Rachel getting fawned over by every guy she talks to. And Andy, here you said, such a mean edit.
Furious.
This was just cruel. Okay, so now everyone reconvenes and Rachel gives her rose to Avon. And we have to talk about how Gabby, as she reveals when she and Rachel go off to talk, how come Gabby didn't speak to Jason?
I guess she lost it and then didn't have time to, she just couldn't deal.
Or was this strategic? Do we think the producers didn't know that Tyler, Hayden, and Jacob were not into Gabby and sent them in to talk to her one at a time to watch her crumble?
I'm so naive. You're right.
They knew that those 3 guys wanted Rachel, only Rachel, and they set up time with Gabby back to back to back. They didn't want her to have the kind of conversation that would fill her cup, that would give her confidence.
Yep.
They instead gave her the 3. They carefully selected the 3 conversations that they knew would tear her down. Yeah. And then, by then, she didn't want to talk to anyone else, understandably.
It's like starving a wild animal so that they, like, when feeding time comes, it's more entertaining. You know what it does? It gives me more confidence that Jason's going far.
Same. Obviously, as we know, Gabby doesn't give out a rose at this date. And Rachel is shook.
Yeah.
I do like this about Rachel. She shows her expression. She wasn't just like,
yeah, it's just
okay. Yeah. Yeah, she was the head exploding emoji at this. And then the two ladies run off to talk. And now Gabby tells her what's happened. And I find it so interesting that Rachel, her first question is, did you talk to Jason? Anyway, this show is sick.
Sick. I mean, that's why it's lasted, 45 seasons already?
So meanwhile, the men discuss, and we get word watch number 4, once again from Hayden. He said, I told Gabby that my intentions were to pursue Rachel. And meanwhile, the ladies are still chatting, and Rachel wants to confront the guys. And I thought it was interesting that Gabby here says that she's there to find a life partner, not to teach dudes how to act.
Love it.
Yes. I'm torn because on one hand, yes, she's above it. She doesn't need to be like wagging her finger at them, being like, this is not how you behave. But it's a shame because I like those moments. I want to watch that. When it is the Bachelorette and we do have a woman in charge, I can't help it. I want to see when Hayden or Jacob are just these smarmy guys who act like they're God's gift. I want them to get their comeuppance.
Gabby's a class act. She's above it.
She
and
is.
Not in a condescending way. She's just not going to do that. She's not going to play in the mud.
Yeah, it's just selfishly for my satisfaction.
Of course.
And I'm sure for many people watching,
I'm sure producers wanted her to do it too. And she's like, not happening.
That's true,
Don't
actually.
care.
I bet you anything they would have liked to have seen that.
That's what we wanted to see, but we didn't get to see it. And it makes me like her more.
You're right. It makes me, what I will say is that's more likely what I would have done too.
Totally.
If I put myself in her shoes, as much as I want to be like, oh, I would have told him what's what, I likely would have been like, yeah, totally understand. Okay. And then I'd be like, ow.
Yeah, let them stew in their own shit. It's not my problem. I'm not here to fix people.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to entertain you with fixing people. I'm here to find love. Damn it.
Okay, so now it's the next day. It's at the mansion. Logan reveals to Erich that he saw Gabby crying on that group date, and they agree there's more to Gabby than they even know.
Dun, 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 dun.
The ladies talk, and Gabby says, with guys like Hayden and Jacob, they like the feeling of being able to reject one of them. She says it's a form of self-preservation to be able to say, I have another option.
Yeah.
She is so right.
Totally.
And now it's the evening, and Hayden is saying to the other guys that his head's in a good spot. And Andy, you said he's gone.
Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tomorrow.
You disregarded
but someday.
Definitely someday. You disregarded the fact that by being so crappy on that group date to Gabby, being so crappy. I'm trying not to swear as much.
Is crappy a swear?
No, I was wanting to say shitty.
Oh, I see. Oh, you were trying.
Because he was being shitty as he was.
Right.
Then I
don't think shitty's a swear word anymore. I hear it on CNN. If it's on CNN, it can't be a swear word.
Well, and now there's that game show called Bullshit.
Yeah, which is, it's on Netflix. It's not the same.
Anyway,
good show though, by the way.
Yeah, we love that show.
Love it. Great show.
Yeah, not sponsored.
No, not at all sponsored. I'm happy to give them like 3 or 4 more viewers. They deserve it.
So now Jesse arrives and does the usual, I know I'm not who you were expecting to see speech. He says the cocktail party is canceled. We were relieved.
Wonder Woman does not die at the end of Wonder Woman.
Wait, what's the point of that?
It's unbelievably predictable.
For that, the predictability to be, yes, it was predictable, but
no, you're right.
I didn't follow. I should have.
I mean,
knowing you as well as I know you, I should have followed. But yes, Wonder Woman does not die at the end of Wonder Woman, even though she seems to come close many times.
Close. A lot of close calls. You know what I don't like about superhero movies? They all look like humans. They're all in human form. But they all have this superhuman ability to take punishment.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't there some superheroes that have like a superpower, but also can be killed by like getting stabbed or shot? Like, why do you have to be always like Superman? Everyone's Superman. That's like a default.
Yeah.
It's like Superman's it's like a base. It's like when you go to the yogurt store, you're like, oh, we're going to give you the yogurt, like, but what do you want on the yogurt? Oh, I want cherries. I want the Snickers. The Snickers. You can get little bits of Snickers.
You can get Snickers chopped up sometimes. Yeah, it's a good one.
I mean, you know about yogurt. What are the good toppings in yogurt?
I mean, you can get sprinkles. You can get fruits.
What do you like?
You can get little mochis. You can get those little bubbles that
I don't
burst
like the
with flavors.
It's
you
too
can
much
get all
texture.
sorts of things. The point being, you can get toppings, but the frozen yogurt is the base.
The base. And that's what I'm saying.
Like how I turned that into frozen yogurt.
Yeah, you did. Well, this is why I like Batman. Because Batman is a human. And he can get injured. He could get killed.
Yeah.
But he's got this great suit. I think it's bulletproof. And he's very good at all the martial arts. Well, my point is all the superheroes, aside from Batman, are like, it's like Superman. Baseline.
Yeah.
And then everything else is added on. I want to see a superhero who's got crazy superpowers but can be killed by getting smashed into a building at 100 miles per hour. Every fight you see, they hit buildings and the buildings break.
Yeah.
And come on, they're just people. Let them be people with superpowers.
Yeah,
I don't want to see all Supermen. Superman is Superman.
So that you want to see them get injured and have to heal.
Yes. The Hulk. I get the Hulk is the Hulk. He can get thrown through a building and be fine. I don't want to see like Aquaman get thrown through a building and be fine. That makes no fucking sense. Aquaman should be killed by a bullet, by a stab wound, and by a really well-aimed and very powerful punch to the chin. Period. A concussion.
Okay. Good tangent.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these Marvel movies. Everyone should be killable except Superman and the Hulk.
Okay, so off on a tangent, but the point is that it's predictable.
Yes.
And it was predictable that Jesse would arrive, not only cancel the cocktail party, but also say that he was not who they were all expecting.
Yes. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Yeah. That's been brewing for about 15 years.
I was relieved by this because honestly, I don't think I could have handled another cocktail party. This episode, it feels heavy. The season feels heavy.
Not humorous.
Not humorous.
It felt like work. And for us, it is always work in a way because this is what we do.
Notes. Yeah.
But they got to up their game. And no one wants them to up their game more than me.
Yeah. It's bad for business.
Bad for business.
Yeah, whenever people say, "Oh, I don't even watch the show anymore. I just watch your recaps," I'm like, no, please watch the show.
Yeah, because our recaps don't happen without the show.
Yeah.
Although we could technically recap an imaginary Bachelorette if they cancel it. We could.
I have a feeling that would get real weird real fast.
I think we're going to do that. Would you guys like to watch that?
Okay, so Jesse says this isn't working for the women and that journey is over. He says the ladies will be continuing their journeys separately from here on out. And Andy, you said that's how it should have been from the beginning.
100%. Totally confusing. Makes our job harder too.
That's what it comes down to. More importantly. So if the men accept the rose from the Bachelorette who offers them the rose, then they stay. But then if not, the Bachelorette loses the rose if the guy's rejected. 8 or 9 roses each. At this point in episode 3, your Bachelorette would still have 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Maybe at least 10 to 12. Yeah. It just feels like they are really getting the short end of the stick on every level.
Yeah, agreed.
Not that I'm saying that every Bachelorette wants to have that many guys. I'm sure they already have their top 2 or 3 favorites that they want to spend time with. But if we're talking about fairness, it's not.
Well, the question is, was this scripted from the beginning?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It has the distinct vibe of them just making it up as they go along, which, by the way, is not good TV.
It's like being on a plane and the captain's like, hey, I've flown some planes, but flying is not my thing. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm sure you guys are going to be okay.
So it's now the rose ceremony officially, and the 3 guys who already have roses, Avon, Zach, and Erich, are waiting out in the winner's circle. The winner's circle.
It's, it reminds me of? It reminds me of like in a baseball game in the dugout where like after a guy comes back to the dugout after striking out, they'll like give him like high fives and like slap his butt.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was basically that, maybe shy of a 1 butt slap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of high fives going on and cheering.
It was lacking butt slaps.
And then the ladies take turns handing out roses. Rachel's first goes to Tino. Gabby's first goes to Nate. Rachel's second goes to Logan. Gabby's goes to Johnny. We still haven't seen any real conversation between the 2 of them.
Nothing.
I think that's what I'm missing. Sorry, I swear I want to get through this, but I feel like I'm not having substance in this season. There's not enough substance.
You know why? Because it's diluted by the fact that there are 2 bachelorettes.
Yes.
It's a stupid idea.
Yes. It feels like, sentimental moment, crying, tears. But what was actually said that is of substance? I'm not getting satisfaction there. No. And then I'm also not getting the laughs.
This was not thought through. No. Someone's like, you know what we should do? It's like they're all high. They're like, what if we had 2 bachelorettes?
It feels like that.
Yeah.
Rachel's third rose goes to Tremaine, and he says he wants to date Gabby. And Andy, you did an impression of Rachel saying, "I'm devastated."
So absurd.
She didn't seem too upset about this.
The least upset anyone's ever been in history. Mm-hmm. But I'll give props to Tremaine rolling the dice.
Yes.
He rolled it.
I had a lot of respect for the
total
guys.
Respect. Let me tell you, Tremaine, for me, and we all know what happens to Tremaine. Mm-hmm. For those of you who didn't watch it, I'm sorry to spoil the next 10 seconds. But Tremaine, from beginning to end,
integrity.
Big fan.
Yeah, integrity.
Yeah.
Right down to getting your limo exit win.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse arrives now, removes the rose that Rachel was supposed to have. She can no longer give it to someone else, and now Tremaine has to go back in line and see if Gabby offers him a rose. Which doesn't make any sense, because wouldn't the ladies be in agreement on who they were giving roses to? Wouldn't Rachel know?
Don't try to make sense.
Oh my God, okay. You're right. I'm just tiring myself out.
Okay, we're going to make it through. It's going to be all right.
Gabby's third rose goes to Spencer.
Nice.
Rachel's fourth goes to Alec. He also says he wants to date Gabby. He heads back in line and Jesse takes the rose. Gabby's rose goes to Jason. Rachel's next rose goes to Tyler. Gabby's next rose goes to Mario. Rachel's next rose goes to Ethan. Gabby's next rose goes to Kirk. Rachel's to Jordan H. Gabby's to Quincy. And then Rachel's second to last rose goes to Meatball. And he says he's also there for Gabby.
A lot of gamblers in the house tonight.
Yeah, seriously. And then the ladies leave because Rachel seems upset. Mm-hmm. I'm confused whether or not they really left out of upsetness, or because I will say during rose ceremonies, there are a lot of breaks. So for example, when I was in that boat, a rose ceremony happened across 3 or 4 different shifts. So Juan Pablo would go out, say 3 or 4 names, and then leave. And then we would stand there and then be like, everyone look forward, because they're getting B-roll of you looking bored, tired, drunk. Like it just, they have a producer standing where the lead was standing, and they get shots of you just looking forward. So
that's good BTS.
Yeah. Well, so what I'm wondering is, was Rachel distraught enough to leave the rose ceremony, or was this just one of the breaks that was going to happen anyway?
Well, I've got to assume because of her ITM that she was crying legitimately, because she was doing that thing girls do where they like make sure they don't fuck up their mascara. I've seen it. It's what is it? It's like this. It's like no, it's like this. It's like. Is that it?
Yeah, it's this.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
And then it's this too. There's a drying. And
good observational skills, Andy.
Yeah, I've seen this many times. But let's be honest here. Rachel doesn't give a flying F about any of the guys who said that they were more interested in Gabby.
I agree.
They were all sympathy roses or production-based roses. She's upset, but she's embarrassed.
Yeah, she kind of said that.
Yeah.
She didn't really say, "Oh, I'm so heartbroken." She was like, "I feel humiliated." I felt like her complaint here was about the fact that, I guess, they had all come up with this arrangement, and she's like, wait a minute, we were supposed to be taking our power back, and instead we gave it right back to the guys, and instead it was public.
Yeah.
She's like, I feel humiliated. Yeah. But what bothered me here, everyone knows what I'm going to say, is Gabby's like, yeah, that's how I felt yesterday, relating to her. And then Rachel's like, yeah, but that was in private. This was in public. Basically belittling Gabby's trauma from the night before, which was also 3 guys. And in fact, I would say 2 out of 3 of them broke up with her, were way ruder to her, basically. And I know Rachel didn't see that happen, but I didn't love that Rachel said this.
Yeah. It's like literally someone like on the Titanic sinking, saying like, oh, we barely survived. I mean, I was like one of the last, I was freezing to death. And then somebody's like, well, I can relate. I was on a private yacht and they ran out of rosé. The whole thing, no rosé. The thing is that there's been so much solidarity, so much camaraderie.
Yes.
For this to me was a real slight.
Yeah.
And I don't think she didn't realize she was doing it.
I don't think so either. Yeah. It was, for me, the first crack that you've been looking for, Andy, for quite some time.
Crack number one.
But I don't know if there will be many more because now that the ladies will be doing things separately.
Yeah, they immediately squashed the possibility of further crackage. They glued it. They sealed it.
So they return to the rose ceremony. Gabby gives her last rose to Michael, and Rachel gives hers to Hayden. Officially,
just by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah. So interestingly, the three guys that took a gamble, Tremaine, Alec, and Meatball, it did not pay off for them.
Pay off.
I respect that, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, as Rudyard Kipling once said, if you can lay your whole life savings on one game of pitch and toss and lose and never speak of it ever again to another man, then the world is yours and you are a true man. That's an absolute bastardization of what he said, but it's paraphrasing.
But we know what you mean.
Yeah.
And so the ladies go to their respective groups of men and toast to love. I thought it was funny how they went their separate ways. It's like separate journeys, but they're both like, to love. Identical toasts. And now in our credits, Meatball, backpedaling, he asks to speak with Rachel and basically makes his pitch to get back his rose.
Unbelievable.
And Andy, you were like, that's the cliffhanger?
Literally, Meatball's like in a casino. He just lost everything on roulette. And afterwards, he goes to the croupier. He's like, you know what? I've been thinking about it. I like both red and black. so give me my money.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the episode. Andy, normally we have A game here, but we agreed that there wasn't a lot of A game.
I mean, Zach kind of give it to him, but it wasn't like he was kind of spoon-fed a lot of it.
So you decided to turn this into
Z game. And the Z game goes to Jordan H.
Yeah.
What the hell was that thing that happened?
His creating of a moment. If you're going to say, I'm creating a moment, at least make sure you created a moment.
It's like me getting on a bus and saying, I'm going to create a moment. Here's your fare.
I mean, you could say our podcast, we've created a moment far more here than Jordan H. created a moment.
Yeah. No one's ever created less of a moment ever than Jordan H. did in that moment.
Especially after he said that he kind of missed her.
Yeah, everything was wrong. He gets a Z game, a solid Z game.
Okay, moving on to our word watch. Andy, there were 4 intentions, and according to you, 37 winners. Yeah. 37 of you correctly guessed that there would be intentions uttered 4 times.
But we can only have one winner.
We can only have one winner. And the winner is Susan Manis. Congratulations. You are the winner of $120 to Caitlin Bristow's wine brand Spade and Sparrows.
Who's it up?
Great prize.
Yeah.
And so for next week, Andy, what word did you have in mind?
Regret and or regrets.
Okay.
I'm not being a stickler about the S.
Okay. So if you would like to join in the Shandy Word Watch Fund and have a chance to win, we're going back to our week 1 prize, which is $100 to one of my all-time favorite Etsy shops, Furano Studio, my go-to place for gold-filled jewelry, both dainty and chunky. And all the rings I'm wearing are from Furano Studio. If you would like a chance to win $100 in jewelry, then you can guess below this YouTube video or over on the Instagram post for this recap the number of times you think the word regret or regrets will be uttered in episode 4. And you'll do so using the numeral, and you must do so by this Friday at midnight. So now our predictions, Andy. For Gabby, who do you have in your top spot?
Erich.
As do I. Okay.
Nice.
I mean, he really pulled ahead. So even though we're both not sure of Erich's intentions at this point, it's clear that he's Gabby's favorite.
That's why. Because I think Nate likes Gabby more than Erich likes Gabby. But I think Gabby likes Erich more than she likes Nate.
That's what it comes down to, isn't it? Okay. And in your second spot?
Got Nate.
Okay. I actually have Jason.
Wow.
In my second
I don't
spot.
disagree with that. I was torn.
I mean, this is really taking a flyer prediction, but I think that if and when Jason finally gets some time shown, that it's really going to catapult him to the top.
I agree.
I'm holding out for that.
I'm waiting for the Jason moment.
It stands out to me that Gabby didn't even give her group date rose to Nate, and he was on that group date.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have time.
Yeah, that was purposeful.
Yes.
She could have easily done that. Been like, well, Nate's my favorite, so I'll just give him the rose. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. It was a statement, what she did.
It's like, I'm open. It's open. It's open field. Open season on Gabby.
Yep. And third spot, Andy?
Jason.
Okay. I have Nate. Yeah. And in your fourth spot, you have...
Spencer.
Same.
Nice.
We're still holding out for Spencer, even though he's still not getting any time. Okay. And for Rachel, who do you have in your top spot?
Got to go with Tino.
Same. I think she likes Tino
Yeah.
the best, even though that one-on-one date with Zach was pretty hot and heavy. She just laces into Tino's face like no one else.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And again, that date was like, it was just low hanging fruit the whole way through. I mean, she's going to have a connective time with anybody on that date.
Oh, I see. On the you and me. I kind of wish the you and me / me and you date, whatever, happened later in the season. I think that would have landed with more gravity had they had more time together.
I agree.
But
it was forcing it a little bit.
Yeah.
It worked, but it was forcing
yeah,
it.
but it was still cute. Okay, and in your second spot?
Zach.
Same. We both have Zach.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot of ding, ding, dings with Zach this week. Yeah. And in your third spot, who do you have?
I got Logan, the two-timer.
Yeah, and based on those previews, it looks like he might actually be.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. Logan's going to be good TV.
I feel bad saying that, but...
Don't feel bad.
Okay, I have Avon in my third spot, mainly because of that preview. I don't know how much stock to put in Logan and Rachel together. And in your fourth spot...
I got Avon.
Okay, and in my fourth spot, I've got Logan. So our predictions are dancing around each other. All right, Andy, I think that's a wrap for episode 3. I'm choosing to remain optimistic that the season is going to get better somehow.
I've always said that the middle episodes are very hit or miss in this franchise. They come in heavy and they end heavy, but the middle is...
Yeah, but usually middle is like episode 5 or 6. I think that's what I find distressing.
This is an early middle.
Yes, this is episode 3. You have all these guys on group dates acting like idiots. There should be more laughs. I should be laughing more than I am at this point.
Yeah.
It's concerning.
I agree.
Well, if you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and
TikTok.
And tell your friends, leave us Apple and
Spotify.
Podcast. You said Spotify like it's the
ugly stepchild.
Spotify. Leave us all kinds of reviews. Reviews are actually our very best friend. If you have something nice to say, please copy and paste it as a 5-star review. It would mean a lot. It helps us grow and motivates us to continue. Generally do all the things you would do to keep a podcast you enjoy in business. And reward the podcasters who bring equipment overseas and run to a music store an hour before to get a new mixer.
Intense. We had the cab driver wait outside the music store for like 10 minutes. They make a nice cab driver here.
They do.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.